Welcome to your doom. Shut it and get over here. Massive uppercut!
Hello and welcome to the JabJab Show. Today we're talking about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's 25 years old. It's recently turned 25. That's a long, a long time. Okay, so before we start on, this is my new composition of a shot. This is to do with, I've got new lighting and what have you, and the microphone there still. The lights there, so if I do that, you might see reflection in the glasses. I'm learning. Okay, so I'm aware not to do too much of that. Anyway, let's get back on with it. Now, Terminator 2, believe it or not, I wasn't old enough to watch it at the cinema. It's a 15. I would ask me for ID, but I had a t-shirt. I could wear the t-shirt. I do have on DVD. Used to have on video, obviously. Watched it first on video. This is a steel book, much like the robots in there, metal. It's quite apt. I don't know. Right, anyway, I don't have it on Blu-ray, but I'll go into that later on. Terminator 2, directed by James Cameron. It stars Arnie. Arnie's back. Linda Hamilton's back as Sarah Connor. You've got Edward Furlong as John Connor, and you've got Robert Patrick as T-1000. Okay, so the story is set in 1995. Sarah Connor is in a mental institute. She's been haunted by the events of the first film, what have you. John Connor is like, I think he's supposed to be 10, but he looks about 13. But that's because Edward Furlong was actually 13 at the time. But anyway, so he's a delinquent teen. He's like going around on motorbikes and basically annoying his foster parents and what have you. It's just defiant 13-year-old, street smart and what have you. And so there's basically a bad Terminator and a good Terminator. Robert Patrick plays T-1000, like I say. T-1000 is mentioned in the film as being metal polyalloy, which basically makes it change into stuff. And it is mentioned also that he can only change into, more elaborate objects. He has to be pretty much the same size as him and what have you. Which is fine, but at some point it changes into a part of a floor, which, I don't know. It's cool, don't get me wrong. I'll get onto the effects later on, but, it kind of breaks its own rules a bit there. It's a bit daft, but there we go. Yeah, so I love this film. It's an excellent film. I can't deny it's brilliant, okay? I would say I prefer the first Terminator film, mainly because of the bad guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, T-1000, Robert Patrick plays him so well. It's such a brilliant, ruthless motherfucker of a machine out there. And you buy into the fact he's more advanced than the T-800 and can do this and that. And the effects, which we'll go on to a bit later, the effects are just excellent. There's brilliant effects, in order to show his abilities and so on. It's just, for me, the story of this film dictates that Sarah, John and Arnie go, and T-800 go away from where they were, and they do this other thing, and you don't see the T-1000 for, I'm not counting, about half an hour, 40 minutes or something. A large chunk of the film, he's gone. And I kind of miss him. During this bit, and when I come back, and there he is. You can't almost forget about him or something. What, comparing this with the first one, where you have Kyle Reese explain to Sarah he will not stop until you're dead, and that's fucking chilling, and he's just literally relentless in this. Like T-1000, when he is there, yes, he's always chasing, always doing this and that to get hold of John Connor. That's true, but like I say, because he goes away and so on the first one, and he's always there. The T-800 is always there. He's always either one step behind, or he's always in pursuit. Now there's a bit in the first one, yeah, they go away and they have sex and whatever, there's a little moment, but it's not as long a departure from T-800 as it is in this for the T-1000. It's a great film, got brilliant effects, and that's one of the main reasons this film is held in such high regard. I mean, yeah, it's 25 years old, but the effects are still effective, coupled with the stunt work. I mean, there's brilliant stunt work in this, you can't deny it. The kind of bike chase with the truck going over the bridge and all, it's all iconic stuff. ILM's got to be commended for, augmentation of the effects, and that's it. The effects, the CGI is, yeah, it's been eclipsed, obviously, in these 25 years since, and it's weird because there are certain films that ILM themselves have been involved in with effects, and they haven't aged as well. And you can, nowadays, yeah, you can say maybe the movement of the C-1000 is a bit jerky, and the bullet holes, they're a bit kind of, they can be done a lot better, obviously, nowadays, but to have the impact of what they're possible of. This was 2 years before Jurassic Park, which again wowed the audiences. So basically anyone, in theory, who has a moderate grasp of CGI can do these things. Okay, yeah, so this film was made years after 1991 and even 1995 the film was set at. This is a milk carton and there's no dead guy at the end of the knife, but you get the general idea of what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm only having a laugh there, but you get my point. It's like people, the effects in this film are iconic. You look at the history of CGI, and this film has lots of points where, yeah, this is the first time this happened, this is the first time that happened. Like I say, I've got the DVD, it still looks great, it still looks all that. Like I say, I've not got the Blu-ray edition, I probably will pick it up at some point, I'm not in a rush, because basically I'm not sure, anyone out there with a Blu-ray edition of the Terminator 2, do the effects still look okay? Judging, as well as everything I've said. I'm only asking because I've got films that I've got on Blu-ray which have effects from the 90s or even 2000s, which kind of, because of the HDness of the whole thing, it looks a bit daft, a bit ropey now. It's like, I don't know if it's all grown up now. I'm thinking, look better than it did as a kid. Yeah, so let's talk about the action here. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's back as a T-800. Okay, spoiler alert for a quarter of a century old film. He's a good guy. He's a protector for John Connor. He's a good guy. He becomes a kind of surrogate dad. There's a few moments in here where not only John kind of opens up to him, there's also Sarah who looks on him. Obviously with the events of the first film, all the rest of it. She's initially a bit fucking freaked out by it, but eventually, or quickly, whatever, she realizes, yeah, he's a good guy, and she starts having this monologue, or talking about this guy she knows is not gonna hurt him and stuff, like ex-partners and what have you. Anyhow, so he becomes a good guy. He injects a bit of humour into it. A lot of it on the, I don't know if it's a T2000 edition of the film or is just a director's cut. Either way, there's a few little moments in there which kind of goofy and all that, which I don't mind. I do prefer the relentless Arnie, but you've got the relentless T1000, which I'll go on to a little bit. What did bug me for a while when I was a kid growing up about this film, like why would the T800 have all these so-called detailed files on, say, Miles Dyson, Cyberdyne, Skynet, all the rest of it. It makes sense. I realise, that at some point as well, John asked him, "Oh, who sent you back?" And he said, "You did." So it makes sense. So future John has said, "Okay, put these files into your CPU, your memory. Here's all the things about Cyberdyne, all this. Miles Dyson did this, all the dates and stuff. I don't know if he's dancing, like Thriller, but he's putting all this on his files. So it makes sense. So when I ask, you'll give me the answers, and I'll be able to do things better." Anyhow, so he's a good guy. His ability to learn, he says, and all the rest of it. Okay, then T1000, Robert Patrick. This is a scary fucker. This is a scary bastard robot. I know technically cyborg, I know, but he's a bad robot. He's great. I love him. He's acting so well. He's like T800 in the first one. He's relentless. You get the fact he's got one mission to get John, to kill John and all that. That's his mission, and you're buying everything he's doing. His pursuit of it. I know I said about the story. I don't know, mate. You know, I wanted him more in the film because it's so good. There's a deleted scene or on the Ultimate Edition, Special Edition, Director's Cut, whatever it's called. Because there's multiple. Where's my copy? I don't know. My DVD. It was reissued loads of times on DVD. All these different names to it. There's a scene just after the T-1000 kills the dog. That's in the Max. That's in the theatrical cut. But in the Ultimate Edition, the Director's Cut, whatever you want to call it, there's a scene right after he does that. He goes into John's bedroom and he's just to look for clues, and he's like with all his fingers and hands, like going against all the objects and stuff, because he's got all these like delicate little, I don't know what you call them, nano something or other, on his fingers. He can sense things through his hands and whatever, which, you know, on a lot of levels that's creepy, but you know, that's just how he does it. And I think, you know, it's a shame they didn't put it in the theatrical, in the original cut, because it just adds some extra dimension to this already, like, you know, that scary robot. All these groundbreaking CGI at the time, it's all to serve the point of how the T-1000 can do stuff. How, you know, as a shapeshifter, and you can do all this and that. Despite, like I said before, about the turning into a floor kind of thing, we kind of breaks the kind of rules that they've put, that was set down or whatever. Apart from that, it's an excellent. So the visual effects all serve a purpose in this film, and maybe more modern blockbusters. You know, not just Terminator films, but can learn more from this. It's not just like, oh, we're so clever, we can do this and that. They actually serve a purpose. Every single CGI moment is, yeah, it looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it's there to serve, you know, a bigger thing, a bigger purpose is in the story. Okay. What else? Also, I found out Tim Cameron originally wanted Billy Idol as the T-1000. That would have been a bit different, wouldn't it? He'd be just talking about white weddings and that while not murdering everyone. I don't know. I love his run. The T-1000 runs so well and so scary. You know, he's got his head down, he's looking up on his... you get the idea. You can't really do it on this. Doesn't do it justice, really. You know, he runs, he's like that, and, you know, let's say it's just a... You know, I think Rob Patrick at some point, someone interviewed him, asking him how he came to have that kind of walk and run and whatever. He said he's thinking himself as a shark going for his prey, and he can get that. You know, he's just so direct, and you know, he's a fast motherfucker. I think he you know, obviously he trained and whatever in doing all this, so he won't look fatigued while he's running for so long, because he does do a lot of running in this film. And yeah, it just really pays off because, like I say, he's just a scary guy. You wouldn't want this T-1000 after you. So Linda Hamilton in this film is brilliant. I love her in this film as Sarah Connor. Much like what James Cameron, who co-wrote Aliens as well as obviously directing Aliens, much as he did with the character Ellen Ripley in Aliens, he just added more to her character that was already set in place from Alien. It just made her a more rounded character. I mean, I love her in Alien, don't get me wrong, but you know, it just added... There's more to her in Aliens, you know. The story in that film dictates that. What he did with Sarah Connor as well added more to her from the first one, and she played it so well. I mean, obviously, in the first 10 minutes she starts off as a waitress and whatever, and that really, you know, maybe a bit carefree and whatever. But you know, then she becomes this like kind of action hero type. She has to step up to the plate and all the rest of it. And this one, yeah, she starts off emotionally damaged, obviously because of the events of the first one. She's in this play, she breaks out and all that. Again, spoiler alert. She breaks out and she becomes maternal. A lot of reflection and introspection and what have you. When she's just thinking about things and the voiceovers happening and what have, like going on, and she just played it so well. Edward Furlong was a complete unknown before this film. I believe he was spotted by one of the casting directors at some point outside in the youth club or outside the youth club, and I don't think he had any acting credentials, and he didn't have any desires to become an actor. There was a lot of I suppose it's like just his attitude in general life that probably attracted the casting director. Just because he brings a lot of street cred, a lot of attitude towards his foster parents, and law enforcement and what have you, and he bonds well with the cast and Arnold and Linda and so on, and he's just this believable kid. He's probably from the wrong side of the tracks. I mean, maybe life imitating art kind of thing, but that's probably why he was chosen to do this role the way he did it. But no, it's really good. I've got no problems with him because he shows his naivety, like in certain moments, and he opens up to the Terminator. He works well with Arnie in this. I think coupled with the fact Sarah talks about her ex-partners and now how they were bad to John and so on, and when John and the Terminator meet, and all the rest of it, getting the initial thing out of the way, but then they find out, then he realises he's not here to kill him, and he knows then the Terminator will never do anything to harm him. He opens up more to him, and I suppose obviously don't know, maybe I might be reading into it too much, but his relationship with the Terminator, he feels he can open up more to him than say his foster father, who's, I don't know, he's only in it a little bit, obviously, his foster father, so I don't know, I can't say, but it just works really well with Arnie and everyone in this. He's probably not my favourite John Connor in the grand scheme of things, but he's really good at what he is. Now, he said, let's say before, he was 13 when filming this, Eddie Furlong. He's supposed to be playing 10. I don't know all that. He's 13. Call him 13. I know it messes up with the time, the year dates and all the rest of it you see in the film, but call him 13. He's more believable as a 13-year-old than 10-year-old. Because a 10-year-old couldn't do half the stuff that he could do in this film. And as well as the CGI and the stunts, which are great in this film, there's also a fact it's brutal in parts. The nuclear holocaust scene, the dream sequence there has, for me it's harrowing. I mean, I believe that the people the technical team behind this scene did a lot of research in making sure what you see in this dream sequence is as real as they could make it, and it's brutal. And there's also the kind of ripping off, Arnie to show what he is under his skin and whatever to Miles Dyson and his family, and there's other bits obviously, but them two standout moments for me, and it just shows. It's, like I say, it's a 15 rated film as it came out, and I believe it's still rated a 15. And for me personally, the series needs to get back to this gritty realism, because it's not just these moments, like I say, ripping off the skin and all the rest of it. It's just the tone of it, the casual, it's not casual, but the swearing that's littered throughout. It needs to. The Terminators, they're fucking killing machines. These need to be in violent films. It's like the first one, obviously, because it's gritty, violent, and all the rest of it. Second one, less so. But there's reasons for that. But the series, I feel, misses that. There's a time when Terminator Salvation came out in 2008, and there were popcorn bags in the cinema which had the T-800's image on it, and I just thought, no, stop it. These are killing machines. You're actively putting killing machines on popcorn bags, which families will buy. And kids, they're not cuddly things, are they? They look scary as heck. Stop it. Okay, going back to the nuclear holocaust scene, the dream sequence of Sarah's, there's a bit, when she's banging on the railings of the park, because she's aware of what's going to happen. It's going to wipe out, all these things, all these people and whatever. And there's also a lot of kids about, and there's also her younger self there with, obviously young John. He's on this little walking horse type thing, and as she's banging on, her younger self looks up, and to me, it always feels like she looks up, sees her older self not banging on gates, and just looks back, and I thought, that's a bit of a weird one. Maybe someone can tell me, is that's what actually happened? Like, her younger self looks up, but there's no look of recognition there. That's what kind of puts me at doubt of this. She looks up as though she hears someone banging on the railings, but doesn't say, hang on, you look strangely familiar. Like, me in a few years. Also back for this film is Brad Fiedel, the composer. He composed the score for the first one. He delivers another good soundtrack. I would say it's more lower in the mix during the chase sequences and whatever. Obviously, the main theme, the main title is there and so on throughout. But I did notice it's propulsive when there's a chase sequence. Whatever, the music he does is still propulsive. It just seems to be a little lower in the mix. Than the first one. The first one had a little, a lot of chiming and all that. The kind of almost tribal, like kind of metallic kind of beat going on. It had this, but more lower in the mix. The lighting is great in this film, especially during the mental institution sequences. And just at night, just everything, the blue light, there's a lot of blue sheen on most of the film. The way it pours through the window and whatever. There's a scene where, they go back to this little garage and she's taking bullets out of his back and whatever. And the way the light is spilling through the windows like up, it's just so well shot. I just got an honourable mention to the lighting. So there's a few things that I took from watching this again recently. The film, the arcades, it just takes me back. Seeing all them games in one place, and as a kid, I remember places like that. It just takes me back to that era because I'm not going to go into it too much, but basically arcades were a big deal for me growing up, and yeah, it's just reminiscent. I'm not in places like that. It just strikes a little thing within me. There's also a scene early on when John instructs the Terminator, the T-800, not to kill anyone. He explains why and what have you. So he Terminator swears not to kill anyone. And there's little scenes shortly after that. He does have a little play on this, but later on when they're at the Cyberdyne, I believe, and they kind of like trashing all this stuff to do with Skynet and all the rest of it with Miles Dyson and what have you. And he's got these guns, and the police outside. He's like shooting at the guns, shooting at the police and what have you. At the end of it, his little visual display says human casualties 0.0. It always bugged me. Why would it be decimalized? Why would it be, how many casualties are 1.2? There's always 0.0. It's just weird. Another thing that made me wonder about this film, it establishes the T-800 as this little chip in his head, this little CPU, and so when they take it out, it shuts down, and all that. It established that that's what makes him tick, if you will. It just makes me wonder then, what about the T-1000? What's he have? Because they're both cyborgs and whatever. Yeah, obviously more advanced, but he's still, I think he's been programmed to do certain things. So by definition, I thought, well, maybe he must have a chip somewhere. But then you think, but he gets melted, he gets frozen, he gets smashed to bits. All these things, like, cause the very material he's made up of to change in such extreme ways. And yet, I don't know if I'm thinking too much of it. What happens with the CPU, this little chip he takes out? Because that's just metal or plastic or something, What happens to that? It's all well and good having all these bits, coming onto his shoe and whatever. What happens to his chip? I feel Terminator 2 is the last great James Cameron film. And that's mad. 25 years ago. But he's not made a lot. Obviously, he's not made a lot of films since then for various reasons and so on. He's currently caught up with all the Avatar sequels. How many is going to be? I wasn't a big fan of Avatar. Get into that into another video. I would like, the right to Terminator, I think, go back to him in 2019. I would like to think he would go and make another, like, the real Terminator 3 or something. Not so much retcon everything, but he just deny knowledge of everything but the first two films. Whether or not that'll happen, I don't think so. Unless if he personally chooses someone to make it under his guidance. So maybe he writes the story, someone else directs, because he's kind of faffing around with all the Avatar sequels. There's a 3 or 4 coming out. I don't know. I'm not too fussed, to be honest. I'll watch them, but anyway, that's my opinion. What's yours? What's your favourite Terminator 2 moment or moments? So let me know down below. I'm not talking about a rude thing. I'm talking about the comment section. So like, subscribe, and tell your friends and everything. And in the words of the new Cyrus, send the word.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,